Welcome back, everyone. It's time for episode 45 of the Horns Up Podcast, your weekly catch-up on all things metal. I am your host, Dan Kaplan, coming to you as always from New York. With me from Portsmouth, New Hampshire, more ridiculous than a song called Vaginal's Juice Dripping into Cadaverous, it's Corey Butterworth. Corey, how's it going?
I would be doing a whole lot better if that was a real song. More on that later.
Vaginal's Juice Dripping into Cadaverous.
That's got to be a real song somewhere, right? Maybe.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
It might be. I don't know. We're gonna talk about
more on that later.
Yes, indeed. What's going on? How's life up in Portsmouth?
It's good. It's good outside of the most of the hours I'm awake, which aren't as good. But it's I kid. It's been good. Obviously I'm back here after a solid weekend down in the city, which went by exceptionally quickly.
It really did, didn't it? Oh my god.
Yeah, it did. It was nuts. But no, it's good. It's good, dude. You'll actually be proud of this. I actually bought a couple tickets to getting the sports talk out of the way right now.
What?
To the U.S. Gold Cup match at Foxborough in the summer.
Nice.
Yeah, so that'll be cool.
Nice. I am looking into doing that myself. My friend Matt from high school and I are looking to maybe get to the final down in Philly.
That'd be sick.
Which would be fantastic.
Yeah, it would.
So, yeah, we shall see if that comes to pass. But yeah, so that's what in July, I believe.
Well, the match I'm going to is July, I want to say 10th, maybe?
Okay.
9th, 10th? It's a Friday. It's a Friday night.
Can't beat that.
10th, yep, 10th. Got it.
Gotcha. Very cool. Yeah, I mean, well, that'll be fun. I got to look into getting my tickets for that. I was about to do some sports related things. A friend of mine actually that I had played dodgeball with got a deal through her company for opening day tickets at Yankee Stadium. She had a deal for like $22 a pop.
Okay.
And I'm like not super into baseball, but Yankee Stadium, $22. Why not? Right? I thought I was going to go check that out, but then it turns out I have something at work that day that I need to be there for. So it's like
figures,
balls.
Yeah. It's funny. I've been to Fenway Park, or I've been to Fenway Park. I've been to the Yankee Stadium exactly one time, and it was for football. Go figure.
Right. Well, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I've been there twice, both times for Pinstripe Bowl games. So go figure. Anyway, now that we got that out of the way, before we get into our headlines, I want to talk about our sponsor for the week. We are sponsored by Dumaway. Imagine this, folks. You're out on a romantic Italian dinner, and late in the meal, once you think you're home free, you drip a little last glob of pasta sauce onto a nice white shirt. What do? You go home, you grab some stain remover, throw it in the wash, and voila, it's like it never happened, right? Well, Dumaway works like that, except with human interaction. Ever been having a lively intellectual debate only for some self-absorbed asshole to jump in and offer an opinion that's neither informed nor relevant? We all have. You've been there, right, Corey?
Almost every day of my life.
Exactly. Well, the next time this happens, just spray a little Dumaway on that piece of shit, sit back and watch as his or her head inflates faster than Cohagen's at the end of Total Recall, and then explodes. No more washing machine required. With Dumaway, you can ensure that all your big boy and girl conversations remain idiot-free, and we all want that, don't we? So order your bottle from Dumaway.com today. Dumaway. Thank you to the folks at Dumaway for sponsoring us this week.
Can I just put dumb people in giant industrial washing machines and just watch what happens? That could be equally as fun. Actually, that could be more fun.
Is Dumaway going to be your detergent?
I mean, that'd be the implication, I think. Yeah.
Well, then the answer is yes, you can do that. Because otherwise you're just drowning them and then it's weird. But if it's
not that weird.
Blow up like a bubble and then explode, yeah, by all means.
That's just fun. Anywho. Yeah. That's enough.
Yes, indeed. Dumaway, thank you for your sponsorship this week. Moving into our headlines, I want to talk about... now, this is probably one of the weirdest developments in at least as long as we've been doing the podcast, right?
It's got to be the top of the list. It has to be. I just can't think of anything else that's more ridiculous. I mean, we've covered some stupid stuff, but this is just... Holy hell.
One of the strangest stories we've come across, no doubt about it. Now, this came through on Monday. That day, I don't know who got to it first. I'll credit everyone. A whole host of our fellow metal blogs, Metal Sucks, Metal Injection, Scrapyard, you name it, ran stories about an emerging label called Strong Scene Productions, which oversaw a number of bands that clothing store H&M, you probably have heard of them, had promoted on a new heavy metal themed clothing line. T-shirts, jackets, you name it, all had these bands and they were all meant to be represented by Strong Scene Productions. The problem, those bands on the H&M clothing lines were all completely fake, non-existent. So here we are with Strong Scene Productions, what appears to be a label, saying they represented these completely fake, non-existent bands. Huh? What's going on exactly?
I don't get it.
Yeah, adding to the confusion was the fact that Strong Scene appeared to have web pages for each of these bands, but then they were all sort of taken down mysteriously throughout the day. So Metal Twitter, Metal Facebook, Metal blogosphere lost its collective head trying to figure this shit out, opine about it, whatever. Sure. What was going on? Was H&M doing some like hardcore guerrilla marketing for a kind of half-assed clothing line to the extent that they'd create a fake label to promote the fake bands on their real clothes?
I wouldn't expect H&M to do that kind of a thing, though.
Right. It was weird. It seemed way out of left field.
It was.
Thing is, that wasn't exactly the case. Strong Scene later that day came out via a spokesperson named Vila Huapacangas.
Sure.
I don't know if that's real or not, and denied any connection to H&M, insisting it was just an art collective that had gotten together solely to create music based on this H&M clothing line. Again, not all that convincing, especially when you have all these Facebook posts and different internet related items from these bands claiming they're from the 80s and had reunited and all this nonsense. Confusing, still very confusing. But then after dragging us all along in this mess on Twitter, Reddit, you name it, the jig finally ended on Tuesday when Henry Trollhorn Sorvali, you might know him from Fin Troll, Moon Sorrow, he's the guitarist and keyboardist in those bands, came out and admitted in an interview with Noisy that he'd been behind Strong Scene the entire time and that it was all a joke. As he put it, he was trying to, quote, point out the fact that you cannot commercialize a subculture without actually knowing all the different aspects of it, and, quote, to create discussion on the fact that metal culture is more than just cool-looking logos on fashionable clothes, and has many more aesthetic and ideological aspects in different subgenres than what some corporations are trying to express. So his heart was in the right place, I think.
That's just a whole lot of nonsense. I'm sorry. Damn nonsense. Sure.
I'm just trying to think of any other troll jobs like this. They
don't exist.
The closest I can think of was, and this isn't even
Liturgy?
the same. No. But the closest I can think of is when last year when Old Man Gloom sent out a single Ape of God promo to the press and then revealed that they were joking along and that the Ape of God was actually 2 albums, and that the one they had sent out was not a part of it at all. But like I said, different league, different sport. I mean, in terms of troll jobs, this was ridiculous. This was elaborate. I'm not sure we'll see anything like this again. I mean, maybe we will. Maybe that's just like feeding it a little too much. But
we will.
What the hell?
Yeah, we will, because humanity. But I'm just sitting here trying to rationalize the cause behind all this and just trying to figure out exactly what happened. And I still can't. I've read about this for the last 3 days, and I still can't make rhyme or reason out of what the hell is going on here. I mean,
you have lost the ability to make words.
That doesn't happen to me frequently. Usually I have too much to say. I mean, H&M goes for, their trendy bullshit or whatever. So I could see them putting out like heavy metal lines or whatever, because it's, I guess, a big enough like niche in the market to do it. But this is just next level shit. This is all kinds of fucked up. Not fucked up to the point where I'm mad at them, but fucked up to the point where I'm just like, what the hell's wrong with you? Just don't. This is way too much effort.
I think he was just, whatever. He was just having a bit of fun.
Well, that's fine. That's totally fine.
I'm not going to get upset about it, but I was just like, holy geez, this guy has some time on his hands.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like who exerts that much effort into this kind of a thing?
Who knows?
That's more of what
to not
I'm
only
getting
make
at,
up to not only make up a record label, but to make up bands, to make up a fake spokesperson, to issue a press release through said spokesperson. Like,
Yeah.
all right, good for you, Trollhorn. I wish I had that kind of time on my hands. But yeah, that was a thing that happened this week. Strong Scene Productions and that ridiculous saga. I am not sure what to make of it, but here we are.
We're talking about it.
So that we are. So mission accomplished, I suppose. Moving on. Our next headline is actually something real, which is something cool and something that we're rather excited about, given our musical interests. We have a new song from Winter Sun. After what? 2.5 years almost since Time 2 came out. The band performed a new song called Forest live at Pagan Fest in Oberhausen, Germany. It's a bootleg live video, so the sound quality was not great, but
you got the
listenable.
idea.
Yeah, you could get some basic outlines of what the song's going to be like. Corey, what'd you think of Forest?
I actually thought it was a great song. I did. From what I heard of it, obviously, which is, we got to take that with a little bit of a grain of salt or whatever, but
right.
I thought it was good. I did. I mean, I only listened to it once, but all it really achieved in doing for me personally was be like, oh, this is great. Fuck you, Winter Sun. Where's this been the last 3 years? That's all it really achieved.
It's been locked away in contract disputes with Nuclear Blast. Obviously,
yeah. God forbid Yari friggin' adheres to the contract he signed. Sorry, had to drop that real quick.
The contract that did not include build me a studio. Thanks.
Right, exactly. Jesus.
But
it was good. It was good. It was a good song.
Yeah, I was interested in listening to it. It was hard to like I said, it was hard to totally tell what it's going to sound like in the end. But from what I could decipher from this, it sounded like the folk influences were less Far Eastern style, like the kind we heard on Time 1, and it almost sounded to me more like Sayor almost.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with that.
Almost like I don't want to call it Celtic because there weren't or as far as I could tell there weren't like fiddles and it wasn't that jaunty kind of Irish influenced melody, but very epic in the same way, the same like Celtic Britain influenced folky way that Sayor is.
Yeah.
And it's an 11-minute song. You hear what I'm pretty sure was dulcimer. There were some tambourines throughout the middle section. The whole middle section of the song reminded me of something you would hear like if you close your eyes and imagine like you're in some sort of like fantasy world and you're sitting down to a feast at a great hall. Mm-hmm. The middle section of this of Forest kind of reminded me of like what would be playing during said feast.
Yeah.
Almost like something you would hear the Stark family playing in Game of Thrones up in Winterfell. But you sort of wonder, like, are there going to be more studio flourishes added to this once the record comes out? I don't know. I mean, I regardless, I liked the sound of it.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. It's Jesus Christ, Winter Sun. I mean, yeah, they did a lot. You're right. It didn't seem. I mean, obviously, Time 1 had a dark kind of coldness to it. I mean, which Winter Sun, duh.
Right.
But this didn't seem to have the same personality to it. Like you said, it was almost like a happy, like a cheerful kind of ambience to it. And you're exactly right. It's like if you're in a great hall feasting and this would be playing in the background and warmth and merriment and all that crap. So I mean, granted, and this comes after the first song they released from Time 2, which they played live a couple years ago, I guess it was at this point, which was called Something Something Fire.
Oh, good old something
fire. So kind of the same idea. That one was a little bit heavier, a little bit more aggressive, if I can remember correctly, from 2 years ago. But it's good. I can't wait. Time 2. I'm gonna bitch about you guys until it comes out, and then I'm gonna love you again for about 18 months. Then I'm gonna hate you again. Deal with it.
Yeah. I really look forward to hearing the full thing in probably 2017.
Right, exactly.
Jesus. Also, I want to point out the live video. Obviously gave footage of the band members. The camera moved from Yari to the other guys in the band.
Yeah.
Throughout the 11 minutes. Their drummer rocking one of the more epic bald head / ridiculous beard combos I've ever seen in my life. To the point where I thought his beard was fake. So.
Just gluing hair to my face. No big deal.
Yeah. No biggie. So yeah, that was fun. Winter Sun, the new song is called Forest. Live bootleg is all over YouTube, so check it out. That'll do it for headlines. Let's get into, we actually have a concert review. And as we touched on last week, we have a concert review that we both went to. Let's talk about Enslaved, Yob, and Ecstatic Vision at the Gramercy Theatre in New York. You came down from Portsmouth to check this out. March 21st, Saturday evening. Technically, Witch Mountain also played, but we didn't get there in time to see them. We were out meeting up with a whole bunch of really fun folks beforehand. We met up with our own Mania War, his friend Paul, our friend Jackie, some new folks, Kelsey and Aaron. Good time. Very good time. I'm sorry I missed Witch Mountain, but don't regret doing the bar meetup beforehand by any means.
We were playing Drink the Beer, deal with it.
Yeah. So we get to Gramercy Theatre. Ecstatic Vision's on, and I'll be honest, I can't really say too much about their sound because we were sort of in and out. We were going down to the merch tables. We were working our way back up. What I heard of their set, I liked, but I have to say it didn't really sound. I was sort of confused as to how they ended up on this tour. They didn't really sound too much like either Enslaved or Yob.
I agree. It's weird. Did I black out? No, I didn't.
Brown out.
Brown out. No, I don't remember a ton about their sound. I remember them being kind of fun, but also, like you said, thoroughly confused about what they were doing there. That being said, they caught my attention enough. I may go back at some point and check out some of their material just out of curiosity. Because I didn't remember their sound being bad. Was it? I think it was just a 3-piece group.
Yes.
Yeah, and they sounded pretty cool. It just seemed weird especially before Yob, dude. I mean, Enslaved does everything anyway, but before Yob, it's just kind of like this isn't the same.
This is out of left field a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
they're good though.
But I like the sound, and they are. I believe they said that they're a Philly band. I think they said that during when they were leaving the stage. I think they said we're enslaved. We're Ecstatic Vision from Philly. So if that's the case, then I must support them by default.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Next up was Yob, and now I had seen them before back in December. I believe this was your first time. No,
correct.
Yeah. And these guys, I mean, they just brought the damn house down. The Yob has to be one of the heaviest bands you'll see. That sound was so massive. It was just a straight up physical assault. It felt like,
I almost wish I hadn't picked up or listened to any of them before seeing them live, to be honest with you. Because they don't feel that heavy on record as far as I'm concerned, but just seeing them live and hearing their sound resonate and just feeling the vibrations from the speakers, just that's absolutely just penetrating. It's just so powerful.
You said penetrating.
Yeah, I was trying to find another word and then just said fuck it, going with it.
Yeah, it is. It feels like an entire 18-wheeler just being dropped on you. Like that's how physically imposing it is. It was a 4-song set. We got 3 from Clearing the Path to Ascend, last year's standout album. We got In Our Blood, Nothing to Win, and Marrow, and then also they closed with the title track from their previous album, Atma. Truth be told, I don't know if I could have handled much more. It was just
4 songs took about 45 minutes as per usual.
Right. And it was just a beating. It was beautiful, but it was exhausting. I mean, it was unreal. Hats off to him. Definitely looking forward to catching him again at MDF next month.
Oh yeah.
Or 2 months.
Shit, forgot about that.
But yeah. So Yob at Maryland Death Fest, that's going to be fun. I am very much looking forward to that. But before we get to that, We'll talk about Enslaved,
Okay.
our headliners for the evening.
Yes.
Fresh off the release of their new album, In Times. And for me, it was my first time. Had you ever seen Enslaved before? Or?
Once. I had seen them January of... I guess it was January. It was definitely January of 2014 when they opened for Monomarth at the House of Blues in Boston, a venue you are now familiar with.
Correct.
It was a good set. Yep. I mean, they only had about 30 minutes because Monomarth needs to play for 4 hours, otherwise they're unhappy.
Yeah, God forbid they don't get to play the same song
17,000 times. Yeah, right. They played for about half an hour, which means they played about a song. All right, I'm gonna stop. My sarcasm is getting a little ridiculous. They played for about half an hour. They got in 5 or 6 pretty sweet songs. I mean, they opened with "Death in the Eyes of Dawn," which was great. It was a good set. So
but then this time we were pumped. They were headliners,
right? Exactly.
They were going to get a little bit more time, and I gotta say, I mean, I don't misconstrue this. I don't want to say or suggest that the set was bad, but it was not at the level I was expecting. I was expecting like, oh my God, mind-blowingly awesome, and it was good. It was good. I enjoyed it. I don't regret seeing it, but I was just like, I don't know. There was something like there was a little bit of an X factor. I feel like that was missing.
I'll put it this way. I've been to 3 shows this year, and this is not. I don't want anybody to construe this as not a positive experience, but it's number 3 on the list by a little bit of a distance.
Yeah.
It just.
I mean, it was.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, that's more or less. I mean, it doesn't mean they're bad. It just means that it's not going to be a memorable show. And Enslaved has gotten, I don't want to say a bad rap because that's not really the correct term. They've gotten questionable feedback regarding their live performances because they're not one of those bands that just drives a ton of audience interaction, although they are charismatic. And it's not a band that's just going to like mesmerize you in the way that I don't know. I guess like Yob it does. just to stay on topic here. They're just kind of like in the middle somewhere. It's that cosmic Viking metal stuff. It's just a little out there from like a crowd experience standpoint. But I mean, their sound still sounds good live. I thought they sounded good. I thought their performance was solid. I thought their set list was fun.
Yeah, they had a good mix of tunes. We got 3 from the new album. We got Durasaw's Dreaming, Building with Fire, and In Times.
Yep.
But then some old stuff. We got Death in the Eyes of Dawn, which I was really hoping to hear
early
beforehand.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I don't know if you heard this. For me, the sound seemed kind of funny on that one. I don't know if it was just that song or what, but it didn't really come through as clearly as I would have liked.
I hear you.
Not going to complain too much. But we also got The Watcher. We got Rune. We got Issa closed it out, of course. It was a good set. It was a fun night. It just wasn't an amazing one.
Yeah, I was pretty pumped about The Watcher.
Yeah.
I know you can pretty much cover any genre of metal, any subgenre of metal in Enslaved discography. One of my favorite albums, probably honestly number 2. It might be number 3 depending on how In Times plays out in my mind. Retir is still number 1, but Vertebrae is right there, and yeah, The Watcher closing that album off is just so ridiculous. It's just a great song, and it's a great song live, which I have finally experienced. So I was pretty.
Yeah.
That was my kind of like holy grail of the evening. I was super fired up about it. But yeah, man, it was good. It was good. It wasn't amazing. It was good.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, I sort of started to feel a touch ill toward the end of the set. I had to go down to the basement of the Gramercy Theatre and watch it on their screens and their speakers.
Because you can do that there.
The tail end of it. Yeah, you can do that. It was nice. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was just, we started our day with a run, and I think I might have just been tired. I think it might have been an exhaustion thing.
Yeah, it wasn't just a jog. I mean, we ran uptown about 3 miles and wandered around for about half an hour trying to figure out where the hell we were, and then ran back. So it was we were out for a while. We were definitely out for a couple hours.
Yeah. So that's neither here nor there. Enslaved, Yob, Ecstatic Vision. Fun night out, all things considered. Do not regret getting together and going for that show.
Not at all.
One bit. So yeah, that's that. Let's move on. Let's get into our new releases for the week. We've got 3 for you to discuss, starting off with one that I think we're both kind of pretty nuts about, truth be told.
Der Weg einer Freiheit.
Yes. The
love that
German The German, the Bavarian, to be more specific, black metal band Der Weg einer Freiheit. Their new album, Stellar. It's their third full length. It's out now on Season of Mist. Now, this thing was pretty damn awesome, wouldn't you say?
You know what's funny? I was thinking my whole time, because I, for those that haven't read the review on the blog yet, it is up.
Corey wrote a full-length review earlier this week, FYI.
Yep, read it. It was fun. I refrained from using the word stellar at the entire time, which I never thought I could do as a human being, and knowing myself, it was an accomplishment. It was just an accomplishment. But no, this thing was fucking killer. I loved it. Start to finish. I mean, I love the way it opened with those like crazy, like droning, clean vocals, which is the only time they show themselves in the entire album. It just really builds up its ambience until it, just throws itself into the more aggressive style at the end of the first track and into the second track. Yeah, I mean, I just want to get the crap out of the way first. I don't think it needed that 1 3-minute whatever the fuck track that was right in the middle of it. Verbund, yeah. That was kind of weird. I mean, I'm not saying it was bad. I'm just saying it's a song that Young and in the Way could have written. I mean, those first few bars, I could have sworn like was more along those lines, and I don't know. I understood it from an aggression standpoint because they had kind of been building up their intensity and I guess you could say their anger track by track, but that was I just didn't think it was necessary. Right. But the rest of the album was just fantastic.
Yeah. To elaborate on Verbund, most of the album it's relatively long. We have a few 8.5, 9-minute songs. We've got a 12.5-minute closer, and then they're all each one sort of takes time to build. It sort of explores a whole bunch of different sounds. There's sort of the droning sort of clean melodic side that you mentioned. There's a straight black metal touch that's pretty prominent throughout, and they sort of gradually like work in between these sounds throughout, and I think they do it very well. But then you get 3.5 minutes of Verbund, and it just doesn't seem to have any sense of dynamics whatsoever. Mm-hmm. The drums are way too loud. The whole song just blasts your eardrums into oblivion. Ultimately, thank goodness it's the shortest track on the album. It's only 3.5 minutes, so it's a weird excursion, but it's done fast. Right. And then, really, right after that, from Eiswanderer and Letzte Sonne, it's right back to really amazing shit.
Exactly, and that was what was so weird about it. I don't know. It's they did what they needed to do. They got it out of the way, and it was over, and that was it. I'll knock it for a bit, but it's not that big a deal. Eiswanderer, which fucking what a great name for a song by a black metal band. Just come on. And if you can't figure it out, Eiswanderer, it doesn't have a direct translation, but it means ice wanderer. I mean, technically ice, EIS, is ice cream, but I know that's not what they're talking about.
Ice cream wanderer. No, it is. They are writing a song about the ice cream wanderer. I've decided.
All right, that's fine.
I don't care.
That's fine.
Der Weg einer Freiheit. If that wasn't your intent, tough. It's your intent.
It's your intent now.
You wrote a song about the ice cream wanderer. Damn it.
And then Letzte Sonne or whatever is the last son, and that's just stupid epic. I mean, I don't know. It's in German, but this is an album. These guys, their lyrics are philosophical. Do yourselves a favor, get a translator or better learn German. I mean, they're fun to look through. But this is just a good album, start to finish. It is. It's the thing about black metal, and the one thing I look for in these new black metal albums, because I understand it's a genre that's been done so many times. Yes, tremolo picking. Yes, blast beats. Yes, these harsh vocals. Whatever, the whole deal. It can get repetitive. So what I look for is how these bands take different elements of black metal and try to fuse them together. And these guys do just that on an incredible level, and it just all becomes very cohesive and all just works. And yeah, I was very impressed. And black metal out of Bavaria. How can I not be happy about this?
Yeah. I figured when I saw this coming up this week, I figured this was going to be right up your alley, and I do not think it disappointed.
No,
so not
even a little.
We really, like, without Verbund, this is a total knockout of an album, like complete knockout of an album. Yeah. Even with it, it's still pretty damn good. Right. It's one of the higher scoring albums on my list for the year. Yeah. So, Der Weg einer Freiheit. The album is called Stellar. It's out now on Season of Mist. Highly recommend checking it out. As a bit of trivia, the name Der Weg einer Freiheit, the way of a freedom, in
Ish.
English. So,
Ish.
yeah,
To be clear,
something like
ish.
that. So check it out. It's on Spotify. It's on my new thing, Google Play Music. Heck yeah. More on that later.
Spotify has been dropping the ball.
Yeah, they have. They really have. But it's out there. Check it out. You know what to do. Next up, want to talk about Thorn and their new album, The Departure of Consciousness. Their new but not really album, The Departure of Consciousness, I should say. It's the first full length from the Boston Sludge Doom Quintet. Thing actually came out digitally last year on Vendetta Records, but this is the first week of it seeing a CD release. It's out on Gilead Media on CD. We didn't know about it back in 2014 because, I mean, shit, let's admit it. We weren't digging quite as deep into stuff back then as we are now, right?
Not even at all.
Yeah. So, Foreign, The Departure of Consciousness. Now, I saw these guys. They actually played the first show I saw this year at Vitus. Saw them with Serpentine Path and Vilcagus. Was really into them. Just absolutely devastatingly heavy sound. Just total spitfire of a vocalist in Chris Pinto. He's just this tiny little dude up on stage, but God, he brings a roar, an absolute roar. And that sound, that impressive live sound, I felt like really also came through on the recording too. It translated really well onto The Departure of Consciousness, wouldn't you say?
I would agree. I actually had a chance to go through this, start to finish, which, that's kind of hit or miss with me. Did you listen to that? No.
I'll take it from here.
Right. No, I actually did listen to this last night, and it was freaking awesome. I mean, I do love like my sludgy funeral doom type stuff, and I gotta say, I think you said they're out of Boston.
Yes.
There's been a lot of good stuff coming out of that region as far as this like doom metal scene goes. I mean, I know for a retrospective, last year at one point I wrote about Morn, Morne, and these guys kind of reminded me of the same kind of style of doom metal, a little more impressive sounding, meaning like it's a little bit more of a grandiose sound, but it's along the same lines, and I love it. I freaking love it. It's a great album. It ended up on like the top tier of kind of like what I've listened to at least so far this quarter. But dude, it's a great listen. It really is.
Yeah, definitely. I really love the vehemence of Alexithymia. It opens like really mildly with that calm guitar intro, and then just becomes this driving, forceful beast. Suffering in the Eternal Void is really fantastic too. I think it's just a beautiful little track, and both in its clean moments and when the filth takes back over later in the track. I think Josh said it best. Our new blogger, Josh Stewart, wrote a review of the album earlier this week. That at one point he said, "Departure of Consciousness will move you to all ends of the spectrum and leave you feeling as if you've run at least an hour-long marathon, or perhaps more appropriately, like the final shovel of dirt's been heaped onto your grave."
Time out. Because I'm a dick. If you can run a marathon in an hour, I hate you. Anyway, proceed.
But I think that nails it. I mean,
it does.
The album itself is only 32 minutes long, but it feels like you've covered an hour's worth of ground in that 32 minutes. It feels like he said, it feels like the coffin is shut and
that's it,
down in the ground.
That's it. Yeah, that's all there is. I love that shit though. I fucking love it.
Yeah. It's bleak. It's fantastic. Forn is the band, Boston Quintet. Departure of Consciousness out now on CD on Gilead Media. Also on their Bandcamp if you want to check it out that way. Want to lead into our final album of the week. Now, this is one that has been attracting a lot of attention, for better or for worse. And it's a polarizing album, but certainly one that we all have our opinions on. And in fact, our new blogger, Jesse, has an opinion on as well. He joins us right now from the Netherlands to talk about Liturgy's new album, The Ark Work. Jesse, how's it going?
Yeah, thanks. How's it going?
It's going well. It's going well. We thank you for being here at, what is it, like 1:45 in the morning your time?
1:50 now.
1:50.
My clock, 1:50. Yeah.
Ooh. Well, we certainly appreciate it, and we know that we've all got some different feelings on Liturgy and the Ark Work, and I think this will be a fun discussion. Now, I will admit, starting off, I was not I really hadn't even heard of Liturgy before, the first previews of this album back in the winter.
Wow.
When they were out before, with Reannihilation and stuff like that, I wasn't as deep into metal, I should say. And so Quetzalcoatl was the first I had heard of them. You have a little bit more familiarity with them over the years, do you not?
Well, actually, the Ark Work is the first album I really listened to, like, start to finish multiple times. So it's the album I'm most familiar with. I did hear some stuff of Aesthetica, which I think is their previous album before this one.
2011.
Yeah, and I didn't like it too much. But of course, the first thing that will reach you normally, in regard to this band, is the bit of the controversy that keeps surrounding their main guy, Hunter
Hendricks, Triple H.
Triple H.
We'll just call him Triple H.
Yeah. Triple H.
He, of course, Hunter wrote an essay some years back on transcendental black metal, and the whole idea behind Liturgy being to just sort of break from all that was traditional about black metal and find something more. Correct?
Yeah, that's the basic gist of it. It's like like from what I understand of it is that he poses that black metal has these inherent limitations, and with transcendental black metal, he kind of transcends those limitations by breaking free, and by reversing certain tropes of black metal, etc. So,
right, breaking free into, as the Ark Work would suggest, a whole lot of like MIDI keyboard sounds and 8-bit Super Nintendo influenced production.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's like I understand that. Like, I read some things surrounding this album, like in interviews, I think on Vice or Pitchfork or one of those websites.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the basic idea behind this was to create this juxtaposition, if you will, like this contrast between mechanical and organic sounds to music. So there are both real, instruments on this, as well as just these MIDI keyboard Super Nintendo sounds, as you could put it.
Right.
And
of course those really awkward sounding mumbled vocals.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I described it previously as someone who tries to rap while crying. That's what it sounded like to me.
It's a really good description, actually.
It sounds a bit like whiny, and I can't put my finger on it, but I think he listened to a lot of hip hop in the past year before writing this album, and then he started incorporating those influences into the music. But as a result of that, I think it came out a bit half baked, like, oh, let's put hip hop into music, but I can't actually rap. Okay, no problem, I'll just do it.
Right.
So,
Anyway.
That was my impression on the I think most notable the song Vitriol, the penultimate song. People said like that's the big song where it sounds like he's rapping, and I was like, this does not sound like rap at all.
Is that the one where he sings about ADHD kids or something?
Something like that, yeah. I heard it, and I sort of kept my eye out for it because everyone was saying, oh, it sounds like he's rapping here, and I was like, no, not at all. What rap are you listening to?
Well, it sounds like he's trying to, but if I can rap better than you, then you probably shouldn't record it.
Right.
That's a good conclusion to take here, because I honestly think I could do a better job, and that's not like something I'd like to boast about because I cannot rap either. But just to illustrate that, it was an experiment, but experiments can also fail. Let's just admit that, because we can all just point out that it's new. It doesn't really sound like anything out there. That's all true. But apart from this, I haven't really heard any argument as to why this is supposedly good. Like, it's new, it's random, it's offbeat, but that's pretty much it. And it sounds like random things thrown together, because it's always a bit dangerous to talk about this, because there's always a danger of you being called purist or elitist something if you
or a simp,
this.
or a simp if you dare to not understand it, right?
Oh yeah, you don't get it between,
Right.
But like last week I wrote this the Timescott review, and that album was also out there, but at least they were trying to do new things, and they still achieved something. They still tried to make an overall song of it. Didn't always work out as well, but at least there was more of an the ideas were better developed. Whereas because I remember in the last podcast you described the Timescott as like the Mitch Hedberg of metal. Like there's the separate parts and they're all great, but sometimes it doesn't really contribute.
Come together.
Right.
Yeah. There's no cohesion.
Yeah, and in terms of liturgy, I think there's a similar mechanic going on. Instead of Mitch Hedberg, it's just a homeless guy shouting in the streets.
That is the best way I could describe this. That is the best way to describe this as a homeless guy yelling in the streets. Oh, that's brilliant. I love it.
But the music, like, there's no overall structure, but the ideas in themselves also don't make any sense.
Right.
I think
a double negative.
I think this thing's just trying to push the limits for the sake of pushing the limits, and that doesn't make it good. In fact, it makes it quite bad. It sounds almost a little pretentious. Dan, I don't know what your overall thoughts are on it, but I tried, man. I did. I just don't think it works.
My overall thoughts. I don't think I was nearly as negative about it as you two were. I actually thought there were parts of it that I didn't totally hate. Against my better judgment, I will say. I thought
hating and liking are very different things, though.
Yeah. Right. Not totally hating.
Right. Yeah. That's the kindest. That's the kindest I'm going to get with this. I thought Rain Array toward the end of the album was very interesting. A little bit long for my taste, but I thought they did some cool stuff with it. In general, just any songs where there were no vocals. I'm thinking Fanfare. I'm thinking, like Heilingen or the Follow 2 was mostly instrumental for a while. I like that. Generally speaking, like, I don't know. I neither like nor really hate it. I'm just like, I think he's trolling us deep down, and I really think he's trolling us, and so I don't want to expend any unnecessary energy, like feeling strongly one way or the other about it. You know what I mean?
You're just trying to avoid the danger of looking like a fool when he finally comes out and says, "Okay, this is all bullshit." Yeah, I got you good, didn't I?
Right. Like, I just
why'd I give a shit about this?
Right. Yeah. I listened to it. People want to like it. That's cool. But I would just rather forget about it and move on to something else.
Yeah, that's because in regard to the trolling bit, at this point I'm 80% sure that at least some of this is just aggravating people for
it has to be,
sake
right?
of it.
It has to be.
Just testing, just seeing like how and I think you pointed this out in your review on Black Ivory Tower, Jesse. Just sort of pushing it little by little and seeing like how terrible something can sound and yet still have people defending it.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's sitting around laughing at every positive review he reads,
or at every podcast talking about the album for 10 minutes.
Yeah, so we're just feeding the troll here on Horns Up. So.
Yeah, we are, but it's pretty fun, so I don't mind.
Yeah. Well played, Triple H. Well played. So yeah, I mean this was an experience. I can't say I'll be going back and listening to it anytime soon. But yeah, it got people talking. So I guess Triple H, mission accomplished, right?
Yeah.
For better or worse.
Better or worse, right?
Better or worse, yeah.
So, alrighty. Well, that will about wrap us up. I mean, Jesse, did you have anything? I mean, I know I mentioned you're doing, your blog is Black Ivory Tower. Is there anything coming up there you want to plug or anything else we can share out while you're with us?
Oh, well, not really at the moment because, I'm in regard to my own site, I just take very impulsive approach. Like every week I try to think of something and just put it up there. So I don't have a grand vision for it anyway, but I will do some interviews with some cool bands, but nothing's been confirmed, so I can't really spill the beans just yet. But I'll keep you updated when there's something worth reading there again.
Well, and just for the folks out there, what is the URL? How can they get to the site?
It's very simple. It's blackivorytower.com.
Perfect.
I recently registered that domain name because it previously had a very convoluted one, but now it's just pure and simple blackivorytower.com.
Great.
We're there.
Great. Well, we'll certainly look forward to any further reviews, interviews, whatever you have going on there. I know we're going to be running the obituary interview you did with Atmosphere shortly.
Yep.
So very much looking forward to that. Yeah, thanks again for coming on. We're thrilled that we were able to get you in for this discussion, and hopefully we can get you back again soon.
Yeah, sure, anytime.
That was fun. That was a fun time. Glad Jesse could join us, right?
Yes. From here at all, and it's like fucking 3 a.m. So go him.
My God, good. What a trooper. So yeah, Liturgy, the Ark Work. That was that. Reminder for you guys, we have a whole bunch of other reviews on the site this week, hornsupmetalshow.com. We've got stuff on new albums from Lightning Bolt, from Morbid Evils, you name it. Head on over and check it out. We'll be, we've got, what did we have lined up? Like 8 or 9
We have
this week?
a lot of reviews, people.
Something
Holy
crazy
hell.
like that. Yeah.
It's fun. Don't get me wrong. It's a fun time, but you got plenty of reading material to catch up on. You should probably get on that shit.
Yeah. Moving on, let's get into Horns Up and Horns Down. Corey, start us off. What do you got for Horns Up? What's been making you happy this week?
Well, I mean, we can get into some more of the details of last weekend because it's all worth talking about. But I would like to specifically point out Metalhead, the movie that we casually decided to kill an afternoon by watching.
Yes.
Down on, I guess, was the Lower East Side on a Saturday. This was an Icelandic film about, I don't want to give too much away of it, but basically this young girl loses her brother in an accident, and she copes with it by just immersing herself in the music he listened to, which was metal. I mean, she basically inherits all his clothes, burning her own, just completely transforming herself into a metalhead. And it was just a fascinating story, and it was a fascinating way to display the emotions at work here. And it all kind of, she goes through a lot of struggles. She's kind of rejected by the community for what she listens to, what she does, and she does some stupid stuff, which I'd probably reject her too, frankly. I mean, I'm sorry, somebody stole my tractor. I'm pretty pissed off.
Somebody stole your tractor while drunk.
Yeah, exactly.
And drove it with no hands.
Or
that's a
headlights.
thing that happens in the
exactly.
movie.
And so she goes through a number of experiences, and it all kind of comes full circle when her parents kind of accept what's happened to their family. They accept her music and what she's doing. I'm pretty sure Euronymous makes an appearance, or is portrayed.
Yeah,
in the movie.
There's a character called Oystein that
comes over from. Let's be real. He comes over from Norway.
From Norway.
Say, hey.
We cannot confirm or deny that it's Oystein Arseth.
Yeah.
Euronymous' real name, but the timing's right. It's set in the late 80s, early 90s.
Exactly.
So
who
knows?
It was kind of cool. It was a kind of cool little thing, which I think the diehard metalheads and the people that have followed that that scene over the years would pick up on immediately, which I thought was kind of cool.
The question is, was one of the other guys named Christian? Because if it was, boom.
Yeah,
we know it. We know it.
That's also terrifying. But without poking any more fun at what was that situation, I thought the movie itself was really good. Actually, I thought the acting was great. I thought the dialogue was great. There's some great lines, even though it was in Icelandic. The whole thing was just really well put together. I would like to go back and see it again. I know there were a lot of things going on that I may have missed the first time through, especially regarding the relationships between the characters. And for what it's worth, the track that the metalhead ends up writing ends up being pretty damn good.
Yeah. So at the end of the movie, the main character Hera forms a band and starts playing. Just different, really aggressive black metal music and stuff like that, and then it culminates with a show in her hometown.
Yep.
In front of all these farmers and normal folk, stuff like that.
It didn't go well at first,
right? But it ends on a high note.
Yeah.
And the song that they close with, I don't remember the name off the top of my head, is pretty fantastic. So
it is. It's. I'm not gonna. I mean, you can look up the song itself on your own, and you should, because it's fucking cool. I'm gonna get the title for you in just a second, so you can help yourself a little bit. Svartamar.
Svartamar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By Mountain House, which is, I guess, Icelandic for metalhead. So Svartamar, Svarthamar. Although if you just look into YouTube and just type in metalhead movie song, it'll pop up before you fucking know it hit you. It's really cool.
There you go.
It's good. It's good. I enjoyed the shit out of the movie, and I'm glad we got to see it, frankly, because I knew it was kind of an obscure thing that was going around for a very limited time.
Yeah. Yeah. So we took advantage. If it is in your town, take advantage as well, because it's a fun little movie.
It is.
I've grown to like it more as the more I've thought about
exactly.
it. The more time that's passed since then. So
yep.
Yeah. So yeah, between that and my horns up is going to be an extension of that. We got a movie out of it. We got a Syracuse reunion out of this weekend.
We did.
And that's my horns up. We had dinner at Dinosaur Barbecue with some friends of ours on Friday. We opened our Saturday with the long run that we talked about before, seeing Metalhead, seeing a concert. Sunday we went to Central Harlem for some good old fashioned like Southern brunch. That was fantastic. All in all, it was a great weekend. It went much too fast.
Yeah, it did. It did.
But I feel like it was a full weekend. I do not feel deprived at all.
No. Crammed a lot into a little bit of time, and that's a good thing. But shit, man, that's the first time I had been down in a long time. I mean, I've obviously,
it had been.
Well, let's be real. I didn't do a ton of traveling last year at all, because I had been saving money and time off of work for my trip to Germany and stuff.
Correct.
I won't use that one word, I swear.
The word that begins with a W and rhymes with Aachen.
Yeah. So while I was saving money and time off for Vakken, I didn't do a ton of traveling. So this year is going to be all about, doing stuff like that. And it was a great time. So yeah, we'll have to make it happen again soon.
Definitely. Very cool. Very cool. That would be horns up. Now horns down. What do you have for that? What's been pissing you off this week?
Shit. Work, but I'm not going to get into any details because that's not fair. It's been good. I mean, obviously Monday was tough, and this week's been kind of a bit of a longer one. But shit, everything's great. The weather's getting better. I've been running outside, averaging like 7 miles a day, which has been sweet. And then,
nice.
Yeah, like I said, booked some tickets to see the U.S. national team play for the first time since I watched them get shellacked by the Netherlands, as it happens, some 15 years ago or whatever it was in a friendly. So it's been good. I don't have a horns up, dude, or a horns down. It's all good this week, which is the first time probably ever. I mean, the last thing that really bad that happened to me was Connecticut, and I am not anywhere near Connecticut anymore. So A+ to that.
Oh man, I was gonna say, yeah, it really must be a good week if you don't even have a horns down.
Dude, for real. I mean, even the bus, man, the bus was fucking sweet, and I got home in like 5 hours on the dot. It was perfect. Taxes are done, massive tax rebate. Everything is. Besides work,
everything's coming up Butterworth.
It's aside from work, everything is just turning up me, which I don't know. It's been good. No horns down for me. Sorry guys, all good. Don't get used to this.
There you go. Well, my horns down. I was going to talk about the MTA and its recent across the board fare hikes. Ooh. Monthly fares went up, weekly fares went up, single rides went up. But here's how I see it. I thought about this. If you've been listening to the podcast for a while, You already know that I hate the MTA.
Yes.
And more or less everything else about living in New York City, and that I'm trying to leave as soon as possible. And if you haven't been listening to the podcast for a while, hey, I hate the MTA and more or less everything about living in New York City, and I'm trying to leave as soon as possible. There, now you know. So instead, I'm going to use the time. I'm going to talk about the fifth season I'm going to talk about Game of Thrones. Fifth season's coming up in a little more than 2 weeks, and there's been a development in the recent weeks that the show is now all but certain to overtake A Song of Ice and Fire, the book series by George R.R. Martin that it's based on. Initially, the show started back in 2011, same year that the fifth book, A Dance with Dragons, came out. And initially, the show was doing one season per book. So the first season covered the first book, the second season covered the second, so on and so forth. With the third book, a lot more stuff started to happen. They ended up giving that show 2 TV seasons, season 3 and 4. But the problem was the TV show didn't exactly follow the same plot progression as the books. So as a result, we started jumping around. We started seeing some things on TV in these 2 seasons, in the book 3 seasons, that didn't actually happen until books 4 or 5. So they've kind of caught up. Basically, we're still waiting on book 6. The show has moved forward since it started the same year book 5 came out, and the book series has not. We have no idea when book 6, the Winds of Winter, is going to drop, when George R.R. Martin is going to turn the manuscript into his publishers. We don't know what's going on with it. And he's being as cryptic as ever. So I guess what I'm saying is that it's interesting, but more importantly, incredibly frustrating that the priorities have shifted. The books used to be the vehicle for the show, but now the show is going to really end up being the vehicle for the books. And it sucks because, I don't know about you, I'm a books first kind of guy. Oh, with just about everything.
Definitely, because we can be annoying and pretentious and say, this movie didn't follow the book at all. I don't know, dude, I don't watch this show.
How do you not? You like Vikings.
Yeah, because Vikings is wonderful, and it's about Vikings, and because
there's a family in Game of Thrones that are basically Vikings. They're like a seafaring family, and they kind of are like rednecks, but they're awesome.
Those redneck Vikings with their trucks and their moonshine. Honestly, no. I will eventually be watching it. It's a matter of, I don't know. I don't know. When things are less annoying and I have more time to be lazy in my life, I'll just binge watch all of it. So basically next month,
go.
To be completely honest.
there you
no
go. There you go.
2 hours a day.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of a shame because I'm a books first kind of guy. And now just to even get to the end of the storyline in a timely fashion, I'm going to have to be a TV first person. Me and all the other millions of people that do both. On the other hand, it will be kind of nice not, like going in spoiled like I did with some of the previous seasons. I remember like some big stuff happens, and I remember seeing people's reactions that are like, oh my God, what the hell is going on? And kind of wishing I could have not read what was going on in advance and, just been as shocked as everyone while watching. Right. So that'll be kind of cool, I guess. But ultimately what I'm getting at here is, come on, Mr. Martin, Germ, more ice and fire now. Germ. It's the best acronym in the world. George R.R. Martin, Germ.
It's a really good song title.
Yeah. Get with it, Germ. Anyway, that is my horns down for the week. I want more Game of Thrones books. Damn it.
Not TV shows, books. That's really interesting.
Oh, the TV show. I know I'm getting more TV show, whether I want it or not. And luckily I do. So, I know I'm getting that. I just want the books too. Anyway, that is my gripe. That'll do it for Horns Up, Horns Down. That'll do it for the podcast. This has been episode 45. I want to remind you all that you should check out the Horns Up blog for more of our everyday content. HornsUpMetalShow.com. You got our album reviews. You've got our retrospectives, our throwbacks, our top 10s, you name it. It's all there. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. We are Facebook.com/TheHornsUp. Twitter and Instagram @TheHornsUp. Reminders, subscribe to the podcast on iTunes if you're you're not doing so already. Subscribe on Stitcher, on Podbean, you name it, whatever you use to get your podcast, we are there. So check it out. And this has been episode 45. Thank you guys, as always, for stopping by. We love having you as listeners. And remember, live,
Love,
plow,
horns up.
we'll see you next week.